guys, welcome back to another episode of the Miami Hustle. Today we have Neno, Torres in the building. Woo woo! I wish I had something to.
Let's go.
Honestly, guys, I remember I first saw you obviously on social media, and then I think I met you at an event. And this is a very powerful person in the network marketing community. Also has his own podcast, which I would love to hear about.
Yes.
And honestly, just someone that I look up to, I admire. He's going to share a little bit more about himself today. So, welcome, Neno.
Thank you for having me, Carla.
For
It's
sure.
a pleasure. From meeting at a networking event to now doing our
being
own
here.
podcast is incredible. So I appreciate you so much for having me.
For sure. So I want to start with something kind of basic, but not basic, right? Just something that I always like to ask people. I grew up in Miami, but people like yourself did not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to kind of start off with your journey, how you ended up here. Why Miami? Like, out of all places, especially coming from New York City. Tell me a little bit more about what that was like and why you ended up here out of all places.
Yes, so, I grew up in Washington Heights, New York City, which is also known as Little Dominican Republic. The same way as like a little Havana here,
Yeah.
there's a Little Dominican Republic in New York. And my whole life, I always wanted to one day be able to travel and experience new places. And I remember I once came to Miami and I fell in love with it because it felt like New York, but with an island vibe.
Yeah.
Like the people, the culture, the food, just everything about it. I was like, man, it'd be dope if one day I could live here. And, obviously through the journey, I started to make money. I started to become successful. And what I realized was that my two biggest networks on my Instagram, when I would look up my two biggest networks, were number one, New York, and then number two, Miami. And when I got the opportunity to do it, which was back during COVID, because when I was in COVID in New York, it was tough. Like you had to wear masks. You had to always follow the rules that they had there. But when I came to Florida, I didn't have to wear masks. Nobody was forced to wear masks here. I felt like I was free here. Even though the rest of the world was on lockdown, here I was free. So I was like, you know what? I think it's time to move down here. I was making enough money at the time because, going from living with my parents till I was like 26 years old, I'm like, I think it's time for me to
Spread my wings.
Spread my wings, make the sacrifice, have my own bills for once, like it's enough, Neno, like you've been living with your parents enough. I think it's time for you to have your own responsibilities and make your own move. And, sometimes when you grow up in environments, you get very comfortable in those environments and you have certain habits, certain people that are just stuck in the same place. And every time I would come to Miami, I was always so inspired. I was, I would go to my mentor's house. I would stay at my mentor's house and he was living in Sunny Isles at the time, beautiful condo on the beach, white glove service and the beautiful restaurants, the people, everybody's talking about money, everybody's talking about success, collaboration. And I'm like, this is an environment that I can thrive in. And I made the move and it's been the best decision that I've made. I love living here. I've been living here for 4 years now and it's absolutely changed my life. I've made more money than I've ever made. The amount of connections that I have, the inspiration, just everything that came with it is just grateful. And plus, on top of that, it's the digital capital of the world, and I run a digital business, so it just worked out perfectly for me.
Do you think that you'll ever move back to New York City?
Only if I would move downtown, live downtown in a nice, beautiful condo. One of my goals in life is to own a condo overlooking Central Park. So until then,
right,
probably not. But when I get to the point where I can afford buying a condo overlooking Central Park, then I'll live out here in Florida and I'll kind of have my two homes. But New York will always have my heart. I love New York. It's just I'm not ready to go back over there anymore. Like I just want to grow out here, expand my wings here, and then go back and buy when my time is right.
That makes sense. And honestly, no offense, I love New York City too, but it's too cold.
Yeah, it gets cold.
It's way too cold.
It gets cold over there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm pretty sure now you're spoiled. Like you're here and you're like, I don't want to go.
I don't even experience winters over here. It's just like winters like 70 degrees, 60 degrees over here.
I don't even think we're gonna have a winter this year. The way this heat is going.
No, yeah, the winter is done at this point. Yeah.
No winter. That's awesome. I always hear about a lot of people who move to Miami. And I'm so happy that you had a positive experience because most people don't make it out here. They end up going back home. That people talk about, if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Shoot, if you make it in Miami, you're not doing too bad because it's tough out here.
Let me tell you something. When I first moved here, they told me about this Miami bug. thing, and they were like, yo, don't get the Miami bug. And I'm like, nah, bro, you crazy. Like, I'm finna go out there to work and grind. But it's funny because you move out here and then it does happen. Like, I know what that Miami bug is. Like, I got into it. I found myself going out on the weekend, staying up till 3, 4 in the morning, and just kind of every single week it was like, and then I found myself, I'm like, yo, this stuff is real. Like, even if you don't want to, it still kind of, it swallows you. And then after a while, you have to like really recognize it and really find out like, yo, you can't be doing this. Like, you're going to spend way too much money. You're going to get caught up. That's a dark life. You know, it's filled with demons and all these things. So I just realized, I'm like, you know what? That's not the life I want to live. And I started praying a lot. I started giving my life to Christ, and I haven't been the same since, to be honest. And I think that's what honestly saved me from the Miami bug, because I was like, you know, I can't live like that. I can't live like this. And the girls and the going out and the restaurants and the late nights and the clubs and the stuff. And I was like, it's good to experience it, to say that you did it and you lived it, but to continue to live that life over and over and over again. I think it was just a season, and it's not that I don't go out anymore. It's not that I don't party anymore, whatever, but I just do it very conservatively now, and I'm more focused on myself, my business, God, my family, and so on and so forth.
I agree with you 100%, and it's funny that you brought that up, because that's one of the things that I was going to ask you, and I'm pretty sure it happens to the best of us. I mean, including myself. It's very true what you're saying. I think it's even harder for people like us who are in business, who are constantly networking, because everything's a networking event.
Everything. Oh my God. Everything out here.
And it's not just like, yeah, we're networking, but everything's networking and drinking and partying, and it's just how it is in Miami.
It is. It's pretty cool though. If you think about it, it's a pretty cool experience, and the environments are awesome. So I love it out here, to be honest.
So what advice would you have for someone that is in kind of like stuck in that cycle? I know you mentioned, being very focused on your spirituality, and obviously is very helpful. What are maybe some more practical tips or advice that you can give someone that finds himself, I wouldn't say lost, but that they're trying to establish more discipline in their life when it comes to saying no? And it doesn't have to be about Miami or partying. When it comes to saying no, when it comes to like just being conscious about, I have this going on and I need to either stop or, make a change. What advice would you have for people?
For me, what helped shift everything for me was taking time to focus on me, having self-love for Neno. A lot of the times we spend so much energy on other people, other experiences, and we forget about ourselves. And we got to remember that in order for us to help other people, we got to help ourselves. In order for us to lead others, we got to lead ourselves. So I always tell people, when you're working to find yourself, you have to spend time with yourself, uninterrupted time, without your phone, without the TV, without a girl or a boyfriend around. Like, there has to be a time for Carla, a time for Neno. And for me, that was what kind of shifted everything for me. When I first started my journey, and I kind of said, enough is enough. I got to focus on me. I would take 3 hours of uninterrupted time every morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. That was kind of like Neno's time, because I wanted to do it early before the
calls and everything.
Before the calls, before everybody got up. So that was my time. And during that time, I was, in prayer. I was reading books. I was listening to audios. I was going to the gym. I was writing my goals down. And it was this time that I spent by myself, no phones. Like, I couldn't use my phone during this time, no email. Maybe I would just post for just the accountability, but that was mostly all it was. And from there, it was just this time that I would spend 3 hours every single day, and it shifted everything for me, because in that process, I found myself. I found my purpose. I built my discipline. I built my confidence. I built my belief in myself. I got closer to God, and all these things just started to happen for me. And because I focused on me, God started opening doors for me. Opened this door here. My business started going better here. I started to have more confidence. So now I was showing up on social media differently. And I started to find myself in business and family and relationships. And it just became like this. It was like I focused on me, and then I became the focus. Like they say, focus on you until the focus is on you. And that's exactly what I did. And anybody that's lost right now, I recommend them to focus on them. Find that time. It could be an hour. It don't have to be 3 hours. It could be an hour a day that you wake up early. You do it right before bed, or, you do it during lunchtime, where there's time that you're focusing on you, and you'll find so much answers, because we live in a time where there's so much distractions. There's so much things going on that nobody ever stops to take a time for themselves. But when you start to take that time for yourself, you start to learn, you start to do more, everything starts to shift. So for anybody that's lost, I would highly recommend them to spend time with themselves. That's the key.
Wow. It's crazy that you're saying that, because I did another podcast and I was saying the same exact thing that you just said, but in very different words, about how important it is to take time to reflect, because like you
So
said,
key.
there's so many distractions. There's so much stimulation now with everything, with social media, with even just you step outside of your house and there's like 1,000 things going on. But if you don't take the time to self-reflect, like, what are you really doing? It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter,
Exactly.
like you said, all of that, because you don't really even know why you're doing it. So that's key.
Super key.
Very key. Major key.
Exactly.
So I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about your career. I know of you because of network marketing, but I know that there's probably other things that you've done in the past or maybe that you're focused on. And I wanted to dive into that topic because I personally love network marketing. I did network marketing for 10 years.
Wow. I did not know that, actually.
Since I was 18.
No way.
My first company was the first one that everyone does. I'm pretty sure you can guess. Amway.
I was thinking Amway. I'm like, are you an Amway girl or Herbalife girl?
No. I was an Amway girl. And I remember I showed up to college and my mentors were like, oh, we're going to have, your first event, whatever. I was like, bet. I got 16 people to show up. So that's when I knew it was like, okay, I'm good at this. Like, I think I want to do this. And then, of course, like all of us, we start with one and then we learn, we grow, we become better. And I did it for 10 years. I retired from network marketing maybe. And when I say retire, meaning like I was like, all right, my network marketing days are
done.
Yeah. Maybe like 3 years ago.
Wow.
It wasn't even because I wanted to. It's just something happened. Something happened with the company that I was with. And that was kind of like my wake-up call that it was a great run, and I hate when people bash network marketing.
I hate it too,
that
dude. Oh my
pisses
God.
me off. And because the majority of the time, there are people who have either never done it, or they're people who had bad experiences. But it's like anything in life, right? Just because you have one bad experience doesn't mean that you shouldn't try again. But anyway, more of the story is I love network marketing. I think it's amazing. That's pretty much why I met you. And I just kind of want to talk a little bit about what your career has been like in network marketing, what you've gotten out of it. And there's a few topics that I want to dive into. Not bad topics, but it's nice to have someone that like understands me, because I can't have this conversation with everyone.
With everybody.
Where it's like we can be transparent about it, but we don't have to bash the industry.
Of course.
So whatever you want to tell me about what your experience has been, or how did you get into network marketing? Let's start with that.
So it's funny because I played baseball my whole life. So my whole life, the dream for me was become a professional baseball player, retire mom and dad, buy them a house, the whole nine. So my baseball career comes to an end due to an injury that I had in my shoulder my senior year in college. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, Neno, what's next? Because my whole life, plan A, B, and C was baseball. So I never knew what I was good at. So I graduate from college, I get my degree, baseball's over, and I'm trying to figure out what's next. And a friend of mine who I had played baseball with in high school, he had already been doing network marketing for years. He had already been doing it. And it's funny because he always tried to put me on. Every company that he ever did, he tried to put me on, but I was always playing baseball. I was always focused on baseball. I didn't think I would ever need a job or a way to make money. My thing was, I'm going to become a professional. So he once tells me, yo, I'm chilling on the block at this time. I'm lost in life too at this point, like completely lost. I'm on the streets of New York City, smoking weed every day, waking up at lunchtime, staying up till 3, 4 in the morning. And I'm on the block, literally, Carla, playing dices. I don't know if you ever heard the game CeeLo, but I was playing CeeLo on the block, and my boy comes, he pulls up, and he's like, yo, I'm going to an event. You should come with me. And I'm like, nah, bro, go to the event, come back, and let's play some dice. I just wanted to play dice. He was like, nah, bro, come to the event with me. And he drags me to this event with me. Now, mind you, I'm pissed off. Like, I'm pissed off that this guy made me come to this event. And I'm sitting in the back with my arms crossed like this. Like, yo, I can't believe this guy made me come to this boring-ass event. But the event starts, and next thing you know, it goes from this guy is up there, and he's presenting the business. And it starts to make sense to me. I'm like, yo, this sounds like something I could do, like making money from home, trading. I'm able to invest. I'm able to build communities. And I'm like, yo, this sounds so cool. So I went from sitting in the back with my arms crossed like this to walking to the front, like, yo, let me find this seat. Let me actually sit down and listen to this. And I ended up falling in love with it. I'm like, yo, I want to do this. Like, I can do this. And at the time, remember, I'm trying to look for a job. I'm going for interviews. Nobody's hitting me up. I'm still living with my parents. So think about it. I'm 23 years old. I have no income, no job. The only income I have is the money that my mom and dad are leaving me every morning before I go to bed. And I'm a grown-ass man at this point, And I start this business. I start the network marketing business. And it's funny because I didn't even have the money to start. I go home that night and I tell my mom, you know, I found this business my boy put me onto. Can you give me the money to get started so at least I can start doing something in the meantime? And she was like, no. She was mad at me. She was frustrated because during the time I was getting home late. Like, she was just so disappointed in her son. But it's funny how moms are, because the next day I walk in the house and she put the money on the table that I had asked her for the night before. So I walk into the house, imagine, you know, I walk in through that door, the money's on the table, and I go to grab the money and she puts her hand over it. And she has that mom to son conversation, like, look, son, I'm gonna give you the money to get started with the business, but this is the last time I'm gonna give you money. You know, you're my son, I love you, but you graduated from college. You could be working a job right now, making money, helping me out. But here I am still helping you out. Here you are getting home at 3, 4 in the morning. Here you are waking up at lunchtime. I feel like I can't watch my son throw his life away like that. So it's either you figure it out with this money that I'm giving you, or you got to pack it up and go get yourself a job. And I remember starting it there, and this is all I've done. I've never worked a job. So, like, you know, I never got a chance to clock in or anything. Like, I went straight into network marketing. Network marketing changed my life. Like, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for the industry of network marketing. I always give all the glory first to God, because God put me in that position. But the industry of network marketing shaped me because it taught me the skills. It allowed me to learn leadership, sales, how to learn different skills, how to promote events, all the skills that I see people need today. I learned all of that through network marketing. You know, how to prospect, how to cold market, how to warm market, like everything that I need today in life to build a successful, big 7- and 8-figure business. I learned the foundations of that in network marketing. You know, I learned the importance of personal development. I know Amway's big in personal development. I've read so many books. You know, I studied the game of network marketing. You know, a lot of people have negative things to say about it, but like you said, it was because they had a bad experience. They didn't have the right leaders. They didn't have the right community. They didn't have the right opportunity sometimes. But network marketing is a beautiful space. I have nothing negative to say about it. Nothing negative. Does it take work? Yes, just like everything else. You know, is it difficult to keep people? Yes, just like everything else. Like, I was actually doing research on it the other day, and I looked up what are the 4 cons to network marketing. And the first one is that it wasn't easy money. You know, it's not going to be easy. You're not just going to get rich quick. Can you make money fast? Yes, but it's not the same for everybody. One of the other cons was the attrition, that people are going to quit. But the thing is, people don't fail, people quit. So it's not that a lot of people fail, it's just people quit. They don't give themselves the time. So, you know, I sat there and I started to think about it. If somebody is starting brand new and if I could start all over, I'll do network marketing any day again. Like, I love it because of how much it's taught me and the person that has helped me evolve into. And I think it's a beautiful industry, honestly.
I agree. I mean, honestly, when I found it, I was already in college, and for me, it was like a situation where I got scholarships and whatnot. So it was one of those, like, whatever, it's paid for, I'm going to go to school. But I know if, like you, if I would have been introduced to network marketing way back when, I don't even think I would have gone to college, to be honest with you. I don't know about you.
To be real. Honestly.
I was like, damn, that was low-key a waste of time. But it's okay, though. Everything happens for a reason.
Did you take out loans, too?
No, I did not. I went to school debt-free because I was a smart girl. But I just felt like I wasted so much time, where I know my business could have been somewhere different, whatever, but you can't live in the past. But
you can't, no.
The honest truth is that, like, there are people who didn't go to school and they went to network marketing. And like you said, it teaches you everything that you need to know. Everything. And it's so crazy.
It shapes you.
It really does. And it's so crazy for even people like yourself. You're like, oh, I never worked a job. I actually did work a job because I went to school. And it was like, okay, I went to school. What did I go to school for? So I almost felt like I had to work a job.
Yeah.
That, and my parents were looking at me like, you know. But then it's like, nobody wants to hire you. And that's the beautiful thing that I love about network marketing, is like, everyone's welcome. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're dumb. It doesn't matter if you're ugly. Like, you just got to put in work.
Exactly. You could get out of jail and go into you could have a felony in your record. Like,
exactly.
Other places you can't go and get enrolled or, you know, be able to get hired. But in network marketing, there's no background checks. There's no race, color, nothing. Everybody's welcome.
It's like church.
Just, yeah, exactly. It's just who's going to put the work in. But I think that that's the negative and the positive with network marketing, because people will join someone that, is just getting started with network marketing and doesn't know what he's doing and doesn't understand the business, and they'll have a bad experience with that person, but it was the person that gave him the experience, not the company. So
Right.
I think that's where a lot of the negativity also comes from with certain people in the space. Is just they're joining the wrong people. They're not joining people that have experience, that actually know what they're doing, that have actually been able to establish themselves in the industry. And it takes time for people to do that.
Yeah.
I could tell you, I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning of my journey because I didn't know anything about it. It wasn't until I started reading the books and going to the events and finding a mentor and going through failed system after failed system after failed attempt after failed attempt that now today I feel so confident in my systems and in my leadership and in my abilities that now I know if somebody was to join my business, I could take them from point A to point Z pretty simple, and if they follow, they'll succeed. But
Right.
back then I couldn't do the same, so it's a process and everything happens in seasons, but it's a beautiful space, honestly.
Yeah, I think, once again, people just, they complain about it, they talk about it, but they really didn't put in the work.
No, they didn't.
And the reality is, and I say this all the time, probably sounds cliche, it's like, I'm not any better than anyone, neither are you. Like, yeah, we all have our gift that God gave us, but that's the thing about network marketing is you can literally be anyone. You could suck at it too, like really bad. But if you really want to succeed, you will succeed.
You will.
Because I don't know about you, but I was one of those people, same thing. I got into network marketing, and you really have to believe in yourself, and it's a choice. You have to wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a 6-figure earner, and then this, that, and whatever. But you almost have to, like, say it before it happens, and not just say it, because they're big on affirmations, right? Affirmations. For the longest, I was doing the affirmations, but I wasn't believing it. Mm-hmm. And when I started believing it, that's when, like, I was even shocked. I was like, whoa,
This is real.
And I don't know if that's happened to you, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you maybe have a story in your career where that kind of happened and how it impacted you.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first got into network marketing, my first goal was to make $10,000 a month. Like, I was like, yo, I get to $10,000 a month. Like, I can move out of my parents' house. Mm-hmm. I'll be able to own my own apartment and be able to pay the rent and have everything else. So when I first got started, I remember them telling me, yo, you got to write your goals down every day. And you got to read them out loud every single day. So for me, I was innocent. So sometimes it's good to be innocent and naive to the point where you're like, all right, I'm going to try. I mean, I'm broke. I'm living at my parents' house. Let me do it, right? So every day now I'm waking up and I'm writing down this goal. And there was a specific way I had to write it down. I had to write it down in the present tense. So I had to write it down. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $10,000 a month in residual income. And I would write it down every day. So I would wake up every day, boom, I'd grab my journal and I'd write it down. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $10,000 a month in residual income. And in the beginning, I started writing it down. I'm barely earning any money. Like, I'm barely earning $1,000 a month. Here I am thinking 10 times bigger. So it was hard to believe it. But like you said, the more you write it down, every single day, I'm writing it down through the good times, through the bad times, through amazing times, through the worst times, higher lows. I'm writing it down every day, no matter what. And next thing you know, I just started to see the progress out of nowhere. It's just one door opens. Now, instead of making $1,000 a month, now I'm making $2,000 a month. Now I'm making $5,000 a month. And I'm like, yo, it's happening. It's happening. Like, it's growing and it's happening. And then out of nowhere, I'm earning the $10,000 a month. It took me 2 years though. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, I wrote this goal down for 2 years and it happened. Every time I wrote it down, it was just like practice.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, now I'm earning the $10,000 a month. And I'm like, yo, if I could do that with 10, I could do it with 20. Mm-hmm. I could do it with 30. I could do it with 50, 100. And that's kind of like one of those things that happened for me that I realized how important writing your goals down is. I actually read this study that said that when you write your goals down, you increase your chances of accomplishing it by 50%. Just by writing it down, because it shows the intention. It shows that you want it. And as you're doing it every day, you got to think about it. As you're writing it down, your mind is seeing it in your own handwriting. And there's a saying that says you become what you think about most of the time. Mm-hmm. Right? So you become what you think about most of the time. So if you think about it, I'm waking up and I'm writing my goal down. I'm thinking about it, right? I'm writing it down. My mind is seeing it daily. Neno's earning $10,000 a month. Now that I'm earning subconsciously, I'm doing something to myself, but it's doing it every single day. And I've done it till this day, still to this day, I'm still writing down my goals every single day. And it's a life changer for me.
Yeah, there's something powerful about when you put that pen to the paper. I know people are like, oh, I put it on my phone. I'm like,
That don't work.
It doesn't. I remember when
it works, but not as much.
It's not the same. When I would train, I remember when I was in the business and I would train my people, I'm like, nah, you have to, it's what you're saying, the intention. Like, you're moving your hand, you're looking at it, you're feeling the pen. Like, there's something about that connection with the pen, the paper, where you're at in that specific moment,
all of it.
People say the universe, God, whatever that means for you, but you're being more intentional about it.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely facts, what you're saying. I kind of want to bring up the topic of the struggles of the ego in the industry. I feel like that's one of the hardest things that we have to overcome.
All of us.
Like, no one's perfect, right? But I feel like for whatever reason in the network marketing industry, it's like heightened. Like, it's so much worse. And I was never in a situation where I really had to kind of take a moment to analyze that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you've heard the slogan, your ego is not your amigo, right? So how have you been able to come to that place where you've been able to, like, control the ego? Because I feel like that's a big, big problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Honestly, the way I've learned it is just to always stay a student. Stay a student and always stay humble. You always can be learning more. Because, what I realized in the industry is that once people start making a little bit of money, they act like they know everything.
Yeah.
Like, they feel like they're the best in every room. They don't shake hands anymore. Like, the things that they did to get there, they stopped doing them. I'm the type of guy that still, when I walk into rooms, I'm shaking every hand. I'm introducing myself to everybody. I'm not bigger than anybody. I'm the guy that if one of the top leaders is speaking, or if one of the lower level leaders is speaking, I'm still taking notes.
Right.
I've always learned that you can learn from everybody, whether you can learn from somebody that has the results that you want, or you can learn from somebody that's on their way up. You never know. Like, there's always so much to learn. You can even learn from people what not to do. So I think that one of the most important things that people could do to check their ego at the door is just always stay a student. No matter how much money you've made, no matter how many accomplishments, no matter how many big of stages you've spoken at, you can always be a student. Because one thing I've always learned is that once you get too big for the little things, okay, you become too big for the big things, right? And that's so important. You have to be always big. You always have to be humble when it comes to doing all the little things that you once did to get there. You can't get too big and too much ego, because then you're gonna get humbled. God will humble you.
Yes, He will.
And I'm telling you, because I've been humbled, and I've realized that over the years that humbleness, you need it. And that's why now every time I walk into a room, you will never even know that I've made the money that I've made, or that I've had the accomplishments that I've had, is because I make sure to make everybody feel like, yo, Neno is here. He's a student. He's just like me. He's no better than me, because I want people to feel that. I don't want people to feel like, yo, Neno's better than me, or because he's made this amount of money, or because he's spoken on these stages that he can't talk to me. I want everybody to feel free to talk to me, get mentorship from me. I want to pour into people. I want to impact people. So I don't ever want to make anyone in a room feel like Neno has too much ego. I want people to know, like, yo, every time I walk into a room, I leave everybody with an impression of increase. I had a conversation with Neno. I believe in myself more. I have more confidence in myself. He poured into me. He left me better than when he met me. I don't ever want people to walk away from me and be like, yo, that guy was a douchebag. He thinks he's the man, or whatever it is. Like, nah. So I think the most important thing is that people got to stay students at all times, and just know that if you're not humble, you'll be humbled by the Lord. And that's the reality of it.
That's facts. Real quick.
Real quick.
He'll be like, oh, yeah? I got you.
I got you. And he'll come around. You get humbled so fast. I'm telling you, it's happened to me, so.
It's funny. I'm laughing because I like completely understand everything that you're saying, and it's true what you're saying. Like, we don't know it all. Like, you're not God at the end of the day. And so I feel like that's something that a lot of people do struggle with, but it definitely, being humble, I would say, is probably one of the best things that you could do. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about, I know you mentioned, your career in the past was baseball and things like that. Clearly, you had absolutely no experience in sales or any of that, right? So for the people that love, I'm talking to you guys, for the people that love to make excuses, right? I've never done sales. I've never done this. I've never done that, right? Someone like yourself who never had any experience, like, you never even had a job. What do you feel was that thing that really propelled you to, really have success in this industry? like people talk about, you know, personal development and that, but something like more like, you know, for example, people who want to lose weight, I drink a glass of water or whatever, like something like that. What have you been able to do that you really feel has elevated you from kind of your past in terms of what you were doing?
Such a good question. I did this thing once. My mentor told me, he said, Neno, make me a list of all the things that make you uncomfortable. So I sat there and I made a list of all the things that make me uncomfortable. Waking up early makes me uncomfortable. Speaking in public makes me uncomfortable. Going to the gym at the time made me uncomfortable. Speaking in front of the camera, doing this right here made me uncomfortable. So he makes me make this list, and I put like eight to 10 things on the list. He said, now what I want you to do is I want you to get comfortable at doing all these things. And I'm like, what you mean? He's like, I want you to get comfortable at waking up early. I want you to get comfortable at speaking in public. I want you to get comfortable at getting in the gym. He said, when you can get comfortable doing these things right here, your life will change. And that's what I started to do. I started to do all the things that make me uncomfortable, because that's how we grow. We can't grow when we are in our comfort zone. There is no growth there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times we choose to go with the comfort zone because that's what feels good. That's what's familiar. That's what we know. So it's natural for us to stay in that comfort zone. But like my mentor once told me, said, Neno, your comfort zone is your broke zone. You'll always stay there. You'll have no growth. The only way you grow is when you're uncomfortable, when you're doing things that make you nervous, give you anxiety, that you feel like you're going to fail. You want to put yourself in more of those situations. So I remember he drew this box for me. He put me in the box. And he said, as long as you're in this box, you won't grow. You won't be able to retire your family. You won't be able to live in the house that you want to live in. You won't be able to do the things that you want as long as you're in this box. He said, in order for you to grow, you have to step out of the box and go as far away from the box that this box is no longer existing in your life, because you live your life uncomfortable. And I think that that's something that more people got to do, is focus on doing what makes them uncomfortable, because that's what's going to bring you the real growth, the real success, the real breakthroughs, and the momentum that a lot of people are looking for in their businesses is happening. That, like, for example, you talked about sales. Dude, people say, oh, I don't like sales, I don't do this. But in reality, we always selling.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are.
We're always selling. If you convince your friend to come hang out with you, you sold him or her on the idea to, yo, let's go eat, let's go do this, let's go do that. We have to sell ourselves to our partners. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're in a relationship with somebody, you got to sell yourself to them, right? So there's always selling. It's just the idea of them having to sell a product or service is what makes them uncomfortable. But everybody does sales. We're always selling or being sold to. So I think it's just the idea of it and just changing the way that you look at it, right? Because they say if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So it's just one of those things. So I just recommend everybody get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that'll shift everything for people for sure.
Yeah, you have to shift the paradigm. I think that's something that people who don't take the time to really understand it just think, once again, oh, you're just good at it. Like, you know how to talk, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, nah, if you only knew.
If only if you, dude, I failed public speaking in college.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember I went up there for my first speaking engagement, and it was the first day of class, and we had to do a personal object speech. And you had to like bring a personal object with you, and you had to talk about the personal object for 30 seconds. I'll never forget it. And I go up there, and because I played baseball, I had my baseball glove with me because I had just got out of practice. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to talk about my glove. And I had to do it for 30 seconds. And I went up there, Carla, and when I tell you, I was so nervous. My hands were shaking. They were sweaty. My voice was cracking. I was stuttering. Like, those 30 seconds felt like the longest 30 seconds of my life. And that experience traumatized me. The experience of sitting there and messing up in front of all those people. And then I joined network marketing, and now I realize that the people at the front of the room are the ones making all the money. And I realize, I'm like, Neno, if you want to be successful in this industry, you're gonna have to get over the fear of public speaking. Like, I don't know if you know, but public speaking is the #1 fear supposedly in the world. Yeah,
it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's for us now.
I mean, but when I started, I used to be like, it was so bad.
It was so bad.
And you're there, you're like, fuck, get it together.
Dude, I know, and dude, I overcame it, thankfully. But it took a lot of practice. It took a lot of Zooms. It took a lot of, putting myself out there and like really, really getting uncomfortable, like I just said. And then eventually, now it's just normal for us. Like. Yeah. Like you said, it's just like having a conversation. Yeah. You know, it's easy now.
I mean, you just have to face your fears. That's really, they're like, people trying to make it all fancy, whatever. I'm like, what you said, like all those things that scare you, right? Like, literally confront them, because
Confront all of them.
because if you don't do that, well, for some people, it's like figuring out why you're afraid of that. Like people, like, how did, like, they do things with people who are afraid of heights, and like, what do? They go jump off a building. Like,
dude, I jumped off a plane because of that. In Dubai, I did.
Really?
Yeah, I did skydiving in Dubai.
Was that another one of your fears?
It's a fear of heights, yeah. But I overcame it.
How was that experience?
Oh my God, it was an incredible experience. One of the most, it shows you so much about your mind, or how negative you can be. Like, up until the moment to skydive, I was so scared. And like the thoughts that I was having of death,
oh my God,
my family, like all of those things go, you think about everything, all of it. And then you jump out of the plane, and it's the most unbelievable experience, because you're so present in the moment. Like, you're literally in the air, and it's just like, you can't think about death. You're just enjoying the moment. That was still to this day, I think that was the most present I've ever been in my life, jumping out of a plane, because there is nothing else but that experience happening. There is zero thoughts on your mind during that time. When you're falling, it's just such a blissful experience, and I absolutely loved it. I know why people do it so much now. Like, I get why. It's just the rush that you get in the experience. The adrenaline is absolutely incredible. But when you finally land and you realize, like, all those fears were for nothing, all those negative thoughts, but that's the journey, though, and journey is the same way. You realize that all those fears, all those doubts, all those insecurities that we usually have, when you get on the other side of it, you realize that you did all of that for nothing. You worried all those days, all those years for nothing, because look, God has something better on the other side anyways for you. So
I don't know if it ever happens to you, but I have moments where I look at everything and I just laugh. I'm just like,
me too, yeah.
Really? LOL. Like, it's just so funny, because it's true what you're saying. Like, once you get to the other side, you realize that everything that you thought that mattered didn't really matter. So did. I definitely have been wanting to skydive for a long time.
You should.
Yeah, I've been. It's just,
I heard here in Miami is actually pretty cool too.
I haven't done it because I haven't properly planned it, and I would like to do it with like a group of friends or something like that. But at this point, nobody wants to do it. I'm just gonna go by myself.
My recommendation for you is just go the day of. Make the decision. Just go the day of. It. Yeah, don't. The scheduling is what messes. Like, really? If I'm gonna do it. Like, if you schedule it, I'm gonna do it Monday.
Okay.
And you have like the 3-day wait period. That wait is just, I don't recommend it.
So you could just pull up and go?
Yeah.
Oh, say less.
Just pull up and go.
I'm gonna go right now.
See there? And we're skydiving today, vamos, so that you don't have a lot of time to think, because the thinking beforehand is what gets you for sure.
That's very true. In life too. Just
in life,
the thinking. That brings me to my next question. I wanted to ask you, what do you feel has been like one of your biggest emotional or mental roadblocks that has been, maybe it's something that you're still dealing with. What do you feel like, how can I ask this properly? Basically, you could choose emotional or mental, or maybe both, right? Mm-hmm. What is it, and how did you overcome it, or how do you constantly overcome it?
Mine, I'm going to tell you about the mental side of how I overcame, and the most important thing is understanding the old story versus the new story you want to live, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of us, we don't understand is that daily, because we're always talking to ourselves, we have a story that we tell ourselves about ourselves. And eventually, if you tell yourself that story enough, you get yourself to believe it. So one of my biggest roadblocks was overcoming that old story that I had in my mind of, Neno, you failed at baseball. You let your parents down. How are you going to get out of the hood now? Like, that was your way out. Like, you're a failure. I lost a lot of confidence. I didn't believe in myself, this and this and that. So I got into this story of doubt, and it was fearful, and it was focused on the past. And for a while, that story was my biggest roadblock, because that was a story that I was believing. I was believing that I was a failure. I was believing that, I let my family down. I let my little brother down. I started to believe those things. So because I was believing that story, that was a story that I was living. So I was just living a life of fear, doubt, and insecure. But then I learned the importance of writing down a new story. And it was hard for me to accept that, like, if I write down this story, if I create a new story and I tell my story enough, eventually I'll believe this story. So that's what I did. I wrote down this new story, and that new story was, Neno's successful now. Neno is living a life of abundance. He's an inspiration. He helped his family. He did this, and I created this new story for myself in my mind. I actually wrote it down legit. Like they told me, write it down in the perspective that you're living in that story already. So like, okay, you woke up today. How did you wake up? How much money are you making? What's your family doing? What accomplishments are you having? Who's with you? Where are you living? And all of those things that I once wrote down as my new story, what you have to do is when you catch yourself in the consciousness of telling your old story, you got to replace it with the new story. So I would catch myself thinking like, damn, you're a failure. And then I would have to catch myself like, okay, no, you're not a failure. You're a success. You're going to be successful. Like, you're going to make this amount of money. Like, this is you. This is you. And it was the conscious decision every single day to catch myself in my old story and switch it over to my new story over and over and over again until eventually the new story became my reality. And everything I wrote down about the money that I was going to make, about the money that I was going to be able to help my family with, about the traveling, the accomplishments, the moving to Miami was a part of my story. Like, all of it came true, but I had to create that new story.
Shift the narrative.
And I had to shift the narrative, and I had to tell myself that new story enough to the point where I believed it. And then after I believed it, then, I now live it. So I think shifting that old story into a new story and believing that new story is the key.
I like that. I feel like we're in therapy right now.
Podcasts feel like that sometimes.
No, you want to know something? There's someone that I know, and very important question. Did you write this story in first or third person?
I think I wrote it in first, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so
I wrote it from the perspective that it was happening, my perspective. Yeah.
Right. So this individual that I know, they went to therapy, and they literally, their therapist told them that, said write a different story, but they were told to write it in third person. So when I first met this person, I would notice they would speak in third person a lot. And at first I was like, it's a little weird, but I didn't judge it. I was like, there has to be a reason why. And then I asked them. And they said, my therapist told me that when, whatever is going on or thought in my mind, that I just have to start speaking in third person about myself, but changing the story. So it's so crazy that you're saying that, because it's a real thing.
It's a confirmation for me too as well. I do it in both, like first and third. Yeah.
That's why I was asking, and once again I would notice this person do that, and once I understood it, I was like, oh shoot, like this is and it works.
It does.
Like I've seen it, and at first I didn't understand it. Once I did, I was like, oh.
It works so much.
Wow.
It's a life changer for me.
Yeah,
I teach that to all my students today, because I see my students and the people that I mentor buying into their old story, and you could tell a lot by if somebody's buying into their story with the way they talk about themselves and the way they talk about their life. I already know. I'm like, yo, I always tell people, you got to change your story.
Yeah.
This is the story that's holding you back. This is why this is happening. This is happening. This is why you're struggling financially. This is why people aren't joining your business. This is why you're not able to make sales, because of this story. Change the story, change the narrative, and believe this narrative. Believe that money flows to you. Believe that you get new successful people joining your business every day, every week. Like, change it, and I'm telling you, it literally happens as long as you write it down, you believe it, you consciously catch yourself in the idea of thinking negative and then switching it to positive. Yeah. Because that's the key right there.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, like, we all have a sad story. Like,
we do.
Whether it's about our past traumas or family, we all, I mean, if you're in the world, you're going to go through shit. I hate to say it, But the reality is that, like you said, if you continue to believe that sad story, your life is going to be a sad story. It's up to you to shift the narrative, of your family, of your generations, At any point, even if you look at very successful people, right, like the Rockefellers and all these, not companies, families, and you really study them, what really happened? There was one person in the family lineage, in the family tree, that said, we're going to shift the narrative, we're going to shift the story, and they did, and that's why people know who they are today, and that's the reality. So you could do the same too. So everything, I feel like, once again, therapy, this is great.
Yeah, we're the chosen ones, though. Like, it feels so dope because, obviously we're here today, exactly, apostles, because we were chosen to, be the ones to shift it, not only for us, but for our families and for the generations to come. And now we're going to be the examples to teach other people. Like, yo, look, Carla came from the bottom, Neno came from the bottom, even though they grew up in different cities, different stuff. at the end of the day, they all developed this mindset to be able to accomplish this. And we all have different testimonials, different struggles, but it all landed us in the same exact place in this podcast room, right? You know, like if you think about all from when you were born till now, how much you had to experience, same for me. But look at us here today. Like everything happened for this purpose right here, for this moment right here. And it's always like that with everything in life.
I agree. I think, I hate when people say everything happens for a reason. Like, that's what you think. But I always tell people, like, whether you believe in God or not, like, every single moment that happens in your life was already orchestrated. Like, every breath that you take, every morning that you wake up, whatever morning it is in the future that you don't wake up, like, all of that was already planned. But the reality is that we have free will. So even though there is a plan for us, we have the free will to do what we want. But as long as we're aligned with our purpose, that plan will develop. But it goes back to what you're saying. You have to stay focused. You can have a vision all you want, but if you don't know the path, right? Yeah. And then once you start going on the path, what people don't talk about is what happens as you're going through it, right? So let's talk a little bit more about that. Like once you're going through the path, right? You think you have it all figured out, you're learning and whatnot. What do you feel like, we talked about roadblocks, right? So we talked about the mental, right? But then there's a lot of the times things in your path that could be your own family, could be your own friends.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. That was probably one of the hardest things for me is when I started network marketing and I got into business and all of a sudden my close friends that I grew up with, oh, you're different. Like all you care about is money. All you do is work. Like you never want to go out with us. And I'm just like,
it's crazy how we all go through the same thing.
And you know what I always tell people, and I'm sure you're going to put in your 2 cents, it's like, they don't have your vision. Like, people are not going to understand why you're choosing not to go to the birthday party because you have to go to the training and now you look like the bad guy, but they don't understand why. Yeah. It requires sacrifice.
It does.
What did you have to go through? Like, I went through that with friends. I went through that with my family, too. That's very painful.
That's the toughest one.
It is. It is very painful because you get to the point where you're doing it, you believe in yourself, and now all of a sudden, like, your own family is questioning you. How were you able to overcome that?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I'm going to give these people a quote right here. So there's this quote that says, friends and family won't support you until strangers start to celebrate you. And that was the one that was hard for me to accept because you expect your friends and families to be the first ones to celebrate you and support you and post a story and show love to it. But in reality, they end up being the last ones.
The haters.
Or they end up being the ones hating on it. And in the beginning, it was difficult for me. And then I remember I learned that the reason why friends and family are the last ones to support you is because they see you for who you are. They see you for Carla that I grew up with, Carla that I used to party with and have fun with and get lit with, and the Neno that lives in the hood with me and was smoking with me. So they just saw me as that. But the thing is, us strangers, we see each other for where we're going. I see Carla as that multiple 7-figure business owner who's inspiring people. But your people just see you as, oh, that's just Carla.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why strangers are easy. I'm sure there's more strangers that support you than your own friends and family.
I love my strangers. They're the biggest fans.
They're the biggest fans. And we need them because, if not, for me, it's been hard because a lot of my family didn't really support me in the journey. I mean, I still have some of them that really don't either, like some of them here and there, they do. But it's crazy. I would have thought that most of my family would have been the first ones to support me. I'm grateful I have a small support group within my family that does. But back then it was hard because nobody sees it. Like you said, I had this thing once that someone told me. They were like, God whispers a vision in people's ears, and only the chosen ones are the ones that take that vision and take action on it. And we were those individuals. God whispered that vision in our ears. Exactly. and we took action on it. And we went and we did what we were supposed to do. And now, believe it or not, a lot of people started to become believers. Like people that once didn't believe, now they all believe. People that once doubted, now they're like, yo, how do I do it? So it's beautiful, but I feel like it's part of the journey so that you can use it as fuel. You could use it as something that's going to keep you going. And sometimes you want to do it so much to prove the haters wrong, but in reality, I just do it to prove right to myself, but also to the people that did support me. The haters, they're always going to be haters. Whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad, there's always going to be somebody hating on it. So I've just learned to just fall in love with the people that are supporting me in the process, and that's it for real.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, people are going to be people. They're going to think what they think. And I think another reason why our families are usually the last ones too is because you're afraid for us, because their instinct is to protect us. And the reality is, I don't know about you, but my family, like, I'm the first entrepreneur, so it's like they don't know what that's like.
Not me. I had a couple entrepreneurs.
They don't know what that's like. They don't understand it. And so it's kind of like, you know, when you're a little kid and you're going to the playground and then your mom's like, no, don't go there but it's like, no, mom, chill. Like, this is my playground. Like, I know what's up here.
Exactly.
You know, but that's so funny that, once again, people always think people on their path, on their journey, think that they're the only ones. Like, no, you're going to go through it. And that's actually a sign that you're doing good, in my opinion.
It is. You need that. And if, like French Montana says, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. You know, so I've kind of like taken it for what it is.
You're like, haters? Oh, I love those.
I'm okay, dude. Like, for example, right now, we recently switched companies.
Okay.
I recently switched companies. The company that I was once a part of, it went down. There was a lot of things that happened in the company that were out of our control. A lot of corporate stuff, a lot of FTC compliance stuff that didn't align. And there's been a lot of haters recently because there's a lot of people that wanted to prove a point that didn't need it to be proven. Let me explain. We've been running this business for 7 years, at least 7.5. I'm going on 8 in September.
Wow.
And over the last couple of years, the company was going on a downturn. Like, it wasn't producing as it once did. And, you know, we reached a point where we were like, yo, we don't think that this is the best place for us to grow and win anymore. And we found a way for us to reposition ourselves and our leaders in another company where we can win and we can see 10 years down the road. Some people wanted to stay and prove a point that, oh, we're the last one standing, so on and so forth. You know how it is sometimes with those egos and pride.
That's the same experience that I went through, except I just said, all right, I'm out, and I just went on.
And you left, right? So,
so I get it, trust me.
I knew that I gave this everything. And when my mentor came and had the conversation with me, he said, yo, Neno, it's done. I don't see this company being here 6 to 12 months from now. It's time for us to reposition ourselves. I need you to understand that you have a responsibility as a leader to take care of the 700-800 people that you have in your business, to make sure that they're in a place where they can win in the next couple of years. You know, these people live off of this. These people are depending on this income. So we got to reposition our people to make sure that they win. So this is not about ego or pride. This is not about Neno being the last man standing. This is not about any of that. This is about our people now. So we got to reposition our people. So we made our decisions. We decided to leave with grace and love and gratitude in our heart. The people that decided to stay, they sank with the ship. 2 weeks later, after we left, the ship sunk.
Wow.
And people feel some type of way towards us because we repositioned ourselves before everybody else did, but we told people what it was.
Yeah.
And now there's all this hate, there's all these people trying to come for us, but it was like, yo, my captain came to me and told me, yo, we have a lifeboat for us.
Yeah.
And he told everybody else too. People wanted to prove a point that didn't need it to be proven. Like, that said, it was over.
Ego.
It was the ego and the pride. I want to be the last man. And there was nothing to stand on. It was over already, you know? So it was tough, and it's difficult to see people have that energy towards us, because in reality, we did everything with love and grace. And we gave people the opportunity as well that we had to ride with us. But they chose, yo, you know what? I'm going to stay. Now they sunk with the ship. Now, all these people that they were leading are looking at them like, yo, what's next now? Yeah. Now these people are left with no income. Yes, some of them are able to make some money because maybe some of them learned how to trade and they got some crypto portfolios, but a lot of these people lost their incomes and they don't know what's next now because they didn't take advantage of the fact that, you know, it was over and they wanted to prove a point. So now people get hate from that as well. So I know how it is, man. It's tough in the business industry, especially because you're not going to align with everybody's ethics and morals and integrity, but I pray for people and I just wish everybody the best. I want everybody to win at the end of the day. It's just some people wanted to prove a point. We wanted to make sure our people was good. I was more focused on my people. People wanted to prove a point that didn't need it to be proven, and we get hate for it. So there's always going to be hate, and even when you do what's best for you and your team and for you and your family, there's always going to be people that don't align with it, and that's kind of like how life is.
I have an interesting question. This is something that I used to struggle with a lot when I was still in network marketing. I used to struggle with finding a balance between putting the team on my back. Like when you're in network marketing, you're kind of like a parent.
You are.
hey, yeah, you're not kind. You're a parent.
Yeah, you're a parent, legit.
Yeah, like sometimes I think about it. I've never had kids. You don't have kids, right? So I'm grateful for network marketing for that too, because I feel like it taught me to be a parent. I'm not even gonna lie.
You're a parent, you're a counselor,
Yeah.
you're a mentor,
Yeah.
you're everything.
And I would struggle. There were moments where I would feel guilt. I would have like mom guilt. Like it's what you're saying. Like you put the team before yourself. You put the team before yourself, and you fall into this trap of doing that. But I don't know about you. I was getting to the point where I burnt out a few times for doing that. And it was really hard for me to get to a point where I had to understand, like, yes, I'm a parent. Yes, I'm their leader. But I also need to look out for myself. I need to protect my energy. And I found that so challenging until I pretty much had enough times that basically I was burnt out and I was like, I need to do something. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And I realized it was that. Because when you're constantly exchanging energy, giving energy, it's so
and
draining.
Taking it on too, all that energy, all that complaining, all those traumas.
It's so exhausting. And I want to know how you've been able to manage that, because I feel like that's a very big challenge once you become a leader, once you're really in the industry. That's something that for me was a huge, there were times where I thought about quitting network marketing for that reason, which is so crazy because that's the reason why I was doing it. I was doing it for my people, whatever. It's the same reason why I wanted to quit. So I feel like that's something that for me was very personal, and I kind of want to know how you have been able to manage that.
For me, what helped me manage it was I learned this from a book, and it changed everything. It said, go where your time is deserved, not needed. The thing with us, when we're so selfless leaders, we go where everybody needs our time. Yeah. This person needs it, this person needs it, this person needs it, this person needs it. But we're giving ourselves away for so many people, and some of those people really don't deserve it. So instead of going where my time was needed, I started to just going where my time was deserved. And what I realized was when you focus on the people that deserve it, you don't get drained as much because you're working with people that are actually doing what's required to get the results.
Right.
You're not spending time on people that are just going through the cycles of life and just complaining, dumping their trauma on you, and you have a conversation with them, and then a month later they're still in the same place. And then a month later they're still in the same place. No matter how many times you talk to them, it's like they can't change. And it's not that those people don't deserve time. It's just they got to learn how to deserve people's time so that you can get them out of that idea or out of that identity. So what has helped me not get burnt out, because I used to get burnt out too, just like you, and it's a lot, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of traumas, like I said. Now I just go where my time is deserved and not just needed. I still help people that need it because I have a heart for it and I know what it's like to be in those situations, but I spend 80% of my time with the people that deserve it. I'm working with these people. I'm giving them assignments. I'm giving them deadlines. When we're done with those deadlines, we're overviewing. We're evaluating, okay, what did we do well? What didn't we do well? What improvements are we going to make next? Okay, this is the next assignment. Let's go. Check back in with me in 2 weeks and we'll get back to it. Right. And it's a constant now mentee mentorship. And instead of us talking about problems and traumas, I'm helping them overcome those things because I'm getting them results.
Right.
So now the financial issues they once had are no longer a problem because I'm getting them results. Right. Their confidence problems, their relationship problems, all of these things are being resolved because now we're taking actions together towards that. So working with people that deserve your time versus needed is probably the key to avoid burnout, especially in the network marketing space. When you lead so many people, for example, myself, I lead thousands. So I have to make sure that I'm going in specific areas where people deserve it. And the thing is, when people see that, now they're looking for ways to deserve your time. So they don't want to be the ones that just need it. They want to be like, how can I deserve a 30-minute, an hour mentorship from Neno? How can I deserve to be on one of these leadership retreats with Neno? Like, what do I have to do? And they're willing to work towards it. And now you're willing to work with the runners, not just the people that are walking. Because a lot of the time, us as mentors, we spend a lot of time with people that are walking. And then we tend to slow down because we're spending so much time with the walkers, when in reality, we need to be spending time with the ones that deserve it, who are running. Let's go run with the runners, because the runners are the ones that are going to bring all in the results. So that's kind of like what I've done to avoid burnout. And to add a little bit into it is always pouring into my cup. Always doing the reading, always going to church, always listening to podcasts and audios, getting my own mentorship as well. We need to have mentors as well, because we're the mentors to others, but we need to have our mentor that's pouring into us. So making sure that I'm always being poured into as well is so important for me as well.
Yeah, it's so funny you said that. I remember when I was going through that and I spoke to my mentor, that's the exact same response they It's like you don't give your time to everyone. You give it to the people that deserve it. And I had to learn because in my head, everybody needs me. Everybody needs a mom.
Yeah, exactly. And we so selfless. We want to help everybody. And, you know, we have such good hearts that we want to, and it's not like, you know, we want to like avoid, like, I don't want to ignore them or anything. I'll give them the idea, but if they don't want to take action on it, then now I know. You know, if I give you an assignment and you don't do it, then now I know you're not really serious. So it's just, let me focus on the one that did do the assignment, the one that is putting in the work, because it seems like right now is maybe not your season, maybe later it will be, but right now I got to focus on those that really want to do it, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I agree with you 1,000%. So I kind of want to switch gears a little bit. I wanted to ask you, because it's something that I get asked a lot, and I'm sure you get asked a lot too. And sometimes I just think it's funny. How has it been for you, like personal relationships, romantic relationships? How has that been for you? How has it impacted it? Has it made it more challenging? I don't, this is what I get told. I can't believe you're not married.
Oh my God, I get it all the
Isn't
time.
that annoying? And I think people don't get it. It's like, once again, I also feel like it's our culture, right?
Especially now because I'm 32.
Yeah. Latin culture, our parents are looking at us like...
¿Qué está pasando?
Yeah. Like, the other day, my grandma was like, so are you going to get married at some point? And I was like, yeah, grandma, but, like, I'm chilling. Like, I'm working on my business, you know?
Yeah.
So how has that been for you? I think it's different to hear a male's perspective.
You know, but it's funny because it's similar to me. The culture, I feel like there's this pressure on that society puts on us that once we reach, you know, late 20s, early 30s, that we need to be married with a house and we need to have kids. And I feel like I still haven't even really found myself yet. You know, I haven't established myself exactly where I need to be. And I know that kids can be blessings, and I know that a wife can be a blessing, but it's like, right now I'm focused on this area of my life right now. And I feel like this area right now deserves and needs my full attention so that I can establish myself here, so that I can have the wife, I can have the kids, I can do those things then later on and be good. Because remember, they say that the two most important decisions that you make in life is, number one, when you give your life to Jesus or whatever you believe in, God, and number two is the woman you marry, for me as your spouse. So I'm not in a rush to, you know, find a wife right now. Like, you know, I'm in the position where I'm just focused on my business right now. Focused on my business, my family. I'm focused on the things that I know are going to help me grow so much in this area of my life. And obviously, you know, we have people that we meet along the way. And, you know, we test it out, and we see what's possible, and we see if it's something that could potentially lead to marriage. But, you know, that's kind of like the phase that I'm in right now. Right, I'm in a phase where I'm focused on me. You know, I meet somebody, I'm working with that individual to see if it's something that could potentially lead to that, but it's not something that I'm making it my main priority right now. My main priority is building myself, my business, my foundation, and making sure that I'm good with God. And once this is established and I feel like I'm good here, then I'll start focusing, okay, I'm dating this girl. Maybe this could be the girl I want to marry. You know, this could be the girl I want to marry. You know, maybe this could be the girl I want to have kids with. But it's not like something I'm rushing into. For me, I feel like for men is a little bit different. We can wait a little longer, I guess. I know for women, you know, there's like a window. And as you get older, the window closes a little bit. So for me, I'm not in a rush at all. I'm taking my time with it. I'm very grateful where I am. And it's just one of those things that I'm taking it one day at a time, to be real.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people forget, like, everybody's like, oh, I want to get married, I want this, I want that. On both sides, there's certain things that you need to have, like, aligned in order, right? Like, to be a husband is to be a leader. Like, the Bible talks about it. And if you are not even a good leader for yourself and for your business, whatever, I'm not saying that you're not, but,
of course.
But if you don't have that down packed, like, how are you going to lead, like, your family? You know, because it's not as simple as people make it think, like, oh, we're just going to get married, like, it's
not that easy.
It's not. And not just that. Now you're not just, you know, that person, but now it's like their entire family. And that's usually where a lot of the issues, I feel like, come from, because it's not just you anymore. It's like you and someone else's entire family, entire upbringing. And it's just a lot to really find someone, and not only find someone, but like life is full of tough times, you know,
It
like
is.
are you someone who is strong spiritually, mentally, like emotionally, like when I'm down, like are you going to be able to pick me up?
Exactly.
And I don't know if you ever had this issue, like an issue that I've had in my dating relationships, and maybe you have it in different ways, is like I'm very strong on my own. Like, and I hate when women say I don't need a man. We all need each other. That's the way God designed
Of
it,
course.
you know? But I found myself in the business space, being very dominant, very masculine, and that has been a huge challenge for me, that I had to learn that, okay, I can be, you know, a boss, you know what, but it doesn't mean that I have to, like, you know, be a man. And that's something that's been really hard for me to have to deal with. I don't know if you ever had that situation in dating, you know, other business owners, other entrepreneurs, or maybe some of the challenges that you have had dating other business owners.
Yeah, it's funny you say
It's
that.
always a hot topic.
No, it is. I would say I've been very fortunate because I've actually...
I love that for you.
I've been very fortunate. I've had very feminine women.
That's great.
I wouldn't say I haven't dated women that were alphas and stuff, but I think a lot of it has to do with the men, because even though they were alpha females and, you know, they were very dominant in the space of their business, when they would be with me, they would become feminine. Like, so they'll play the tough guy act to the world in the business, but when they were with me, they were my little babies, you know? So I guess maybe it's the energy that I put out, or maybe just my aura or the way I make them feel, that they were able to be very feminine with me. I haven't had a very dominant woman that
great.
like tries. I've seen it with other relationships, to be real. But I haven't had that with myself. And I feel like I've been very fortunate with that. But I have dated very successful business owners that are like, they're the bosses. Like, they run the show. But when they're in business, they're the show. But when they were me, it changes. Like, it's just like you become their safe place almost in a way. And I kind of like, I feel like I've been that for them. So I haven't had that challenge, to be real with you. And
I have a better question.
I'm grateful for it.
I have another one, which I know for a fact this has been an issue, because when I was in network marketing, I dated someone in network marketing, and we were both leaders and whatever. And this is a big, big, big problem, is the insecurity situation.
Oh my
is
God.
Such a big deal, because it might not even be you, but, you know, like, you're confident, like, you know how to speak. Naturally, it just happens. It's not your fault. Women are going to, like, fly. Same to women. I mean, men, whatever.
Yep.
And I remember when I was going through this, I remember just watching everything, and it like, I felt like I was in a jungle. Like, all the animals are going crazy, and you're just there, and I'm watching all of this, and I'm like, holy shit, like, I did not know, I wasn't ready for all this.
Me either, honestly.
And it's a lot. So how have you dealt with that? Like, how have you dealt with maybe a partner that was insecure, or maybe they weren't insecure, but in instances like that, like, if that trust is not 1,000 or something, naturally, instinctively, it's very normal for you to be in that type of environment and maybe feel some type of way, or maybe someone else is being a certain type of way. Like, how do you keep that, like, how do you keep your composure? How do you, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about.
It's hard. It's so hard. I think it's all about the expectations that you set at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So I recently started dating this girl, and from the very beginning, I told her, like, this is what it is.
Right.
Like, my business is 70% women.
Right.
Like, my whole business is filled with pretty women, alpha ladies. Like, I talk to them on the phone. We FaceTime. They come over. We work together. And I needed her to understand what she was getting herself into before
it happened.
So she knows, so that then later down the road, she's not telling me like, oh, but why is this girl calling you? This girl, these are my business partner. Like, these are the ladies in my business that help me pay the bills here.
Yeah.
You know, like, we work together. And it's bigger than that now. They're like family to me, you know? So I think proper expectations have to be set at the very beginning of the relationship. And because those proper expectations were set, I feel like it's still hard because, you know,
yeah, we're human.
Being with a man that some of his best friends are women I know relationships that my guys cannot do it.
Yeah.
Like I know some friends that they cannot have girlfriends like at all.
Yeah.
And here I am. I'm the one friend that has all the girlfriends, and my best friends are girls and stuff like that. But it's because my business is very women dominated. The network marketing industry is very women dominated, and my top earners in my business are all women. Like I have like 7 top earners, 6 of them are women. Only 1 is a guy.
Wow.
So I've had the pleasure of building relationships with them, but it's also setting the boundaries, communicating, trust, having them meet her as well. Like, yo, look, this is this person, this is my girl, you know, get to know each other, have her get a good feel of them, who she could trust, who she can't trust. And I think as long as you do that, it's good, but it's also, the girl has to be open to the idea of that.
Down.
She has to be down if she wants to be with that person, with me or whoever it is. Like, she needs to understand that this is what comes with it. And I always tell, as long as you date a God-fearing man, I don't think women really have to worry. You know, like if you date a legit God-fearing man that you know he's not gonna do you wrong, and you know that he's gonna live by the principles, and that he's scared of God's wrath, and he's not gonna be out there trying to mess around with his downline or his leaders or his mentees and mentees, then you should be solid. You should go to sleep at night at peace. You should let him go on tours, do everything that he has to do, because he's not gonna do it. Because I know God-fearing man that they're handsome guys that get it thrown at them daily, and I'm with them while it's happening, but they'll never do it.
Yeah.
They get invited, they get everything that you could imagine. They'll never do it because they're God-fearing man, and no matter what, they go to sleep at night, and their wife could go to sleep at night every day because they live by a principle, and expectations were set at the very beginning. But it's up to the girl or, you know, the individual that, do you want to go down this path? This is what comes with me.
Right.
Do you want to go? And that's always going to be what it's like for me.
Right.
You know, whether she's the one or not, whoever it is, they're going to have to understand that this is the business that I run. I mentor women, I talk to them, I develop relationships with them, because this is how I've been able to build my business over the years. And whoever wants to be with me needs to understand that, needs to buy into it, and needs to be with me in the process. Build that relationship with those ladies and those women, and be open to it, and just have that trust as well. But I also have to make it secure, and you know, there's a lot of things that there's a sacrifice, and there's a compromise that needs to happen on both areas as well, for that trust and for that belief, and for those boundaries to be, you know, put in place. But I get it, trust me, it's hard. It's hard.
I mean, I think about it like when I was going through that, and it is hard. And it's not because it's hard, like because humans are humans, and sometimes people do some things and you're like, what in the...
Sometimes not even in your control.
Yeah, it's just like, I need to leave here. What's going on?
Yeah.
So, but everything you said is key. I wish someone would have had that conversation with whatever situation I was going through, but it's okay. That's why it didn't work out. And you're right. The funny thing is that a lot of people claim to be something that they're not, but you figure that out as you go along
later.
the
Of
way.
course, everybody, time promotes and exposes everybody. So.
Right.
But that also, the thing is also as well, when choosing a girl, you have to choose someone that's confident in themselves, that believes in themselves, that is not buying into these insecurities, because then, you know, there's a lot of pretty women out there.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, you may look at that girl and be like, damn, this girl's prettier than me. You could start thinking, yo, this girl could take my man. My man could fall into temptations. But if you're confident in yourself, and you know that you that girl, and you know your man is not going to leave you, and you know that you got it down packed, and you do everything for your man, and you have that confidence, then you'll never worry. But it's the insecurities come from that, you know, if you're not in the gym every day doing the work on yourself, if you're not as smart, if you're not pouring into yourself, if you're not a successful business owner, or whatever it is that your wife or boyfriend does, like, these things are so important as well. So for the women, they got to make sure that they're working on themselves, and they have 100% confident in themselves, that they love themselves, that they have a relationship with God, that they believe in themselves, because that's also key. Because when you date a girl that doesn't have that, their insecurities are all over the relationships, the worries, the doubts, the fears.
And they put that on you.
And then they put that on you, and then you have all that pressure, and, you know, it's difficult. And I get it. You know, every woman is going through their own journey, and you have to go through your experience. So I also understand that. So for my business owners out there, just know that when they pick their women, they have to make sure that they understand those things, that you're picking a good, strong, positive, you know, girl, woman that believes in herself, that doesn't have those insecurities, because those insecurities will catch up to you. Trust me. because it has happened to me many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many arguments. Oh my God, I can't even tell.
But it's true what you're saying. Like, I'm going to do my part, but you need to do your part.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not doing their part, that's usually a sign that you got to go.
Yeah, nah,
it's not going to work.
It has to be a two-way street. Yeah. There has to be somewhat of a compromise so you can give, the girl the security, the trust that she needs to have to be able to sleep at night. Because if you don't, then that's when she's going to start arguing and checking and doing this and not doing that. And it's hard. It's hard. It sounds easy. I'm making it sound easy, but it's really not that easy. I promise you. Like,
I know, trust me.
It's not that easy. We make it sound good, but it's still hard for me till this day. It's still something that I'm working on, and it's still something that it's a process.
It is. Yeah, I feel like we've had therapy, we've given relationship advice, business advice. So I want to ask you this last question and then we'll wrap it up. So I was on a podcast a couple months ago and they asked me this. And when they asked me this, I was like, this is such a powerful question. Like, why has no one ever asked me this before?
Okay, let me prepare.
And the question is a very simple question, but I don't know about you. It made me think. I wanted to say so many things, but my response is very simple. I'm curious to see what yours is. So if you were to have a conversation with your younger self, a younger, let's say, 15-year-old self. Because when you're too young, it's like you're too young. 15 is like a good age where, like, you don't know everything, but you know enough that I feel like, I don't know, at least for me, it was an age where I started to become aware of my insecurities, where it kind of like that innocence left me and I realized, like, the world, Yeah. What advice would you give that younger 15-year-old Neno now?
Such a good question. I could have gave him so much advice.
Yeah, right? It's hard to pick, like, just whatever. I mean, there's no right or wrong. It's like, what would you tell him?
To be real, I would tell him to start focusing on his relationship with God. I feel like I learned about my relationship too late. Some people might be like, you learned it exactly when you were supposed to learn it, but if I could go back and talk to 15-year-old Neno, I would tell him, like, yo, one of the most important things that you could do is have a relationship with your creator. It's not just praying once a day, and there's a lot more than that. There's books that need to be read. There's things that need to be studied. There's church that needs to be going to. There needs to be money that comes out of your check every single month so that you can give back, and all these different things. There's principles you got to live by. These are things that you have to do, and I didn't really learn that till 28 years old. That was 2 years ago, 2023. Like, I believed in God. I'd pray, but I didn't really have a relationship.
Right.
And my life really shifted after I had a relationship. And it happened exactly when it was supposed to happen. But if I did have that opportunity to talk to 15-year-old Neno, like, this is what you need to do. Like, this is a main priority because this will save you so much stress and worry and heartache all the way down the road. You're still going to go through it.
Right.
But because you're going to have him, you're going to have that consciousness of it. You'll be able to look at everything from a different perspective, because that's the way I look at life now. Like, even the things that are not working in my favor work in my favor. Mm-hmm. I started reading the book of James yesterday, actually. And right away at the beginning, it starts off by saying that you need to live in joy when you're going through trials in life. Like, you need to be happy when you're being challenged, because that's what builds your faith.
Right.
If you're not building your faith, then what do we have? Right. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I remember when I used to be negative. I used to be sad. I used to be stressed. I used to be all of these things when I was going through tough times. In the Bible, it says, be overjoyed when you're going through trials, because it builds your faith and it builds your perseverance. It's maturing you. It's growing you. So be happy in the process, because if you're not growing, you're dying. So I always teach that to people now. It's like, yo, be happy in the process. Like, as hard as it is and as difficult as it can be, I'm not saying that you shouldn't acknowledge your emotions when you're stressed and when you're sad and when you're but don't stay in those emotions. Acknowledge them and shift. Acknowledge and shift, because in reality, we're living the life of our dreams. We're happy. God is challenging us. The blessed is the one that God challenges. We're blessed because we're being challenged. We're blessed because we're being tested. Because if we weren't, then we'd be dead. We weren't be growing in our life. So I would say that would be the advice that I would give my 15-year-old. What did you say? I'm curious to know. What did you say?
My response was more practical, but I do agree with you. But what I would tell my younger self is to just let go Like, to be in alignment, let go and let God.
Let go and let God.
Just chill. Just chill. Like,
you were trying to control things too much.
I was going crazy. Like, this didn't go this way. This didn't go that way. I was supposed to be married by 23. Like, I had this whole thing.
Oh my God.
and I, it's true what you're saying. Like, I would get so angry and so frustrated. And it's like, why is it not? Why, like, this is the plan. Why is this plan not? And it just created so much unnecessary stress in my life that I could have been putting that energy into other things, because I hadn't learned that, like, God's timing is perfect. I may want something, I might not be ready for it, and maybe that's why it hasn't happened.
Of course.
So now, like, that I'm an adult, it's so funny because people are like, you're never upset, it's just, what am I gonna do? Like,
everything works for you. I mean,
right.
You can't even, like, stress out anymore.
I'm just chill. I'm just like, all right.
I mean, I'm the same way. People be like, yo, bro, I never see you stressed down, nothing.
For what?
Like, for what?
It's not worth it.
Life is amazing, bro. I'm living a great life. Right. Everything works out for me. Even when the things are not working out for me, it is, So right. I do my best not to stress out about things anymore. I acknowledge things, obviously, but for the most part, I don't really give things too much energy. My mentor once told me, he said, Neno, don't spend 5 minutes on something that's not going to matter a year from now.
Yeah.
Don't spend no time on anything that's not going to matter 5 years from now, whatever it is. So just take everything with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Everything is water under the bridge, and just go through the journey, learn your lessons, and keep it pushing.
You're right.
And that's it.
Facts. Drops mic. So I want you to tell our viewers where they can find you. What upcoming projects do you have? I know you mentioned that you recently shifted over. I'm sure some people were curious. I was curious myself, but I'm like, that's none of my business. I'm not in the industry anymore.
I want you on my team.
I don't really care.
I got to recruit you onto my team.
We'll talk about it off camera.
Off camera.
So any upcoming projects that maybe you'd like to share, that maybe people can get involved?
Yes.
Or something that you're working on, how they could find you? Give us your Instagram, your social media.
Yes, so people could find me on Instagram at longliveneno, Neno. I'm working on 2 projects.
Okay.
One of them is my community. It's called Alpha Society. Alpha Society is a community of people that are learning and mastering the skills of making money online. So that has to do with trading, investing in crypto, which crypto is big right now. I don't know if you saw, Bitcoin just hit $110,000, which is huge. Teaching people how to build online stores, social media monetization, travel hacking. So it's a community of people that are making money online. My other project is my personal brand, which is going to have to do with public speaking, coaching, retreats, journals, books, and so on and so forth. So there's going to be one that's going to be a community-based aspect, teaching people how to make money online. And my other business is going to be more like a consulting, teaching people how to get paid to speak, teaching people how to develop themselves, like a life coach kind of thing as well, merchandise, and so many other things. So those are the 2 things that I'm currently working on right now that are in the works as well. So if anybody wants to join a community of people that are making money online, they could do that. If somebody wants consulting with me on how to learn how to get paid to speak, how to build their brand, how to, all these different things when it comes to like personal development and mindset and all those things, I'm your guy for that as well.
So what's the best way to connect with you? Just the DMs, or do you have like a process for that?
Just the DMs for now. I'm gonna have a link on my bio as well that people are gonna be able to book a call with me and just check me out through there.
Do you have any upcoming events, like local?
Yes, actually. Next Thursday. Let me tell you the
shameless plug. Go ahead.
Let me give you the exact date.
This is your spotlight.
Yep.
Shameless plug.
The exact date is next Thursday, which is the 29th. We have an event in the RAW. It's more for the community, for those that want to learn more about my digital entrepreneurship community and how to become a part of it and learn more from it. It's going to be in the RAW. I'm going to be having a flyer made and everything here in the next couple of days, and it should be up in the next 2 days.
Okay. So Instagram, Long Live Neno?
Instagram, Long Live Neno, yeah. Okay. Neno.
Okay. So, guys, you heard it here today. If you want to follow Neno, see what he's up to. Honestly, he's a great person to follow. He's always up to something. So I would say definitely follow him.
Yes, thank you.
Live life vicariously through him. But it was honestly such a great conversation that we had. So much. It was so easy flowing, so therapeutical. we
got to do this more often.
It was definitely therapy in here, but it was great. Even I got some nuggets. So hopefully you guys got something out of it today. Go follow Neno.
Yes.
And we'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Bye.
Bye.